starting off with the very first task in the entire PTE exam and also the very first task for the speaking module. This is the Read Aloud. I should call this the new Read Aloud. Why? Because on August 7th, 2025, PTE made changes to almost the entire exam. The points distribution changed. And one of those big changes was in the Read Aloud. In the past, you would get a lot of reading points from the Read Aloud. Like the most. The most reading points actually came from Read Aloud. And then, of course, Read Aloud gave you a lot of speaking points. These days, not anymore. Read Aloud no longer gives you any points in the reading, and it doesn't give you anything close to what it used to give you in the speaking. All right, so with this task, the change seems like a good change because you no longer rely on one or two tasks in the speaking to get a high speaking score. So it seems more balanced since the points got spread out throughout all of the other speaking tasks. All right, so talking about speaking and scoring points, that's what we're going to do in this tutorial. I'm going to give you an overview to what the Read Aloud task is. And then, of course, I'll talk a little bit about the scoring on what PTE says they score you on. So y'all ready? Let's get into it. Here is the rundown for the Read Aloud task. You will be given 6 to 7 passages to read individually, one by one. Each passage can have up to about 60 words. You will be given 35 to 40 seconds to practice reading each passage. And then you're going to hear a beep, and that means it is time for you to record your reading. You will have 35 to 40 seconds to read the passage. If you pause for 3 seconds, the microphone will turn off and you'll be taken to the next question. Did you notice all those references to time? 35 to 40 seconds to prepare, 35 to 40 seconds to read the passage. If you pause for more than 3 seconds, the microphone will turn off. All the references to time means time is important. How so? When you're doing the Read Aloud, I guarantee you will never take 35 to 40 seconds to read the entire Read Aloud. If you do, chances are you're going to get a 0. So what we're going to do is we're going to use time to measure our speed. That's going to help us identify how long we should speak for each Read Aloud task. All right, but once again, you're never going to take 35 to 40 seconds to do the Read Aloud, even though they give you that time. We'll talk more about that when we get to techniques and practice, but I just wanted to point that out. In the meantime, let me show you what this task looks like. This is a screenshot from the official PTE mock exam. So this is the closest thing we're going to get to what it looks like on the exam. Now, as you can see, you will have a passage. Yes, that one line of text. So just imagine if you were to read that, do you think it would take you 35 to 40 seconds to read it? Absolutely not. And if you drag it out and you read that for 35 to 40 seconds, once again, chances are you're going to get 0 points. All right? So that's the text, that's the passage that you're going to read. And then you see the audio recorder. In the audio recorder, you're going to see the time counting down. That is your practice time, between 35 to 40 seconds practice time. Once that hits 0, you are going to hear a beep. And then you're going to see a timer begin, and it will count up. That's to indicate how long you have spoken for. So it's telling you how long it's taking you to read the passage. As soon as you're finished, you see that next button at the bottom, you press next. But please be careful. For all of the speaking, anytime you press next, a pop-up will appear. It's going to ask you, are you sure you want to go to the next question? Don't even read it. Just click next and yes, because if you're sitting there reading it, it's still recording your speaking. So don't let it record, just press yes. Okay, by now you know what the read aloud task is. You know how many of these tasks you're going to get. You know what you're supposed to do, and you know what this task looks like. So now let's talk about the scoring. How do you score points in the read aloud? Now, if we look at the PTE score guide, it tells us we're going to be scored based on content, fluency, and pronunciation. Now, in the past, we never got any numbers to indicate points for content. But a while back, they actually added 5 to the content, which means you get 5 points, right? Something like that. But now in the new score report, they took that 5 away again. So now we're left with content, which is not indicating how many points we're going to get. Fluency 5, pronunciation 5. Does that mean we're going to get 10 points for each read aloud task? Absolutely not. If you add it up, 10 points times 6 questions, because you're going to get 6 to 7 read aloud tasks. So that's equivalent to 60 points if you're perfect. Can you get 60 points in the speaking from the read aloud if you do it perfectly? Absolutely not. These days, you probably get a little bit more than 10% of that. So maybe 10 points, let's say. All right. So no, the score guide is not an indication of how many points you're going to get for the read aloud. I don't know how they use that to distribute points, but you will definitely not get 10 points per read aloud. All right. Now, as far as fluency and pronunciation goes, for me, the best way to explain fluency, I like to call it speed. All right. The speed of your speaking. Now, we're not in a race to see who can speak the fastest, but we are going to use speed to determine our fluency. And that's why I said earlier, the time will determine our speed. And pronunciation, well, that's syllable stress. When you're pronouncing words that have more than one syllable, there's always going to be syllable stress on one of those syllables. And that's what we focus on when we do the read aloud. And we're going to practice that more as we go. All right, so now you have an understanding of what the read aloud task is. Let's go to the next task.